Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar, Mimaki Advanced. We are starting today with a lot of sun here in Amsterdam, and we are looking forward to talk about digital printing and laser cutting. So good morning, everybody. So let me first introduce my specialist next to me. Please welcome Rens van Haren. He's our Senior Application Specialist at Mimaki Europe. And I think, let me introduce myself quickly. I'm the host of today. My name is Dana Drion, and I'm the Senior Marketing Manager at Mimaki Europe. Oh. So let's briefly go to our agenda for today. So for today, we are doing that already, the welcome and introduction. Then we kick off with the panel discussion with Mimaki partners, and I will introduce you them in a second. Then, of course, at the end, like always, we have a Q&A and a closing and a key takeaway. Before we kick off, some housekeeping rules. First of all, at the moment, you're all muted. The session will be recorded. If you have any questions in the meanwhile, on the right side, you see a box where you can ask a question. We will use those questions at the end during our Q&A. So don't be shy, put your question in there, and we will answer them all at the end of our discussion. So I'm very excited to introduce you to our panel today. So let me say hello, good morning to Michael Garstenauer, our product manager, cutting and at Trotec Laser. Good morning, Michael.
Hello, good morning to you.
And then we have from Signcom today, we have Andres Di Savari, product manager at Signcom Sweden. Good morning, Andres.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you guys? Is it also sunny in your regions today?
Yes, we have beautiful weather, 25 degrees. The summer is coming.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Here is cloudy and boring.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's when you have a European session, right? So, okay. We will kick off with a very short video and then we will start.
Welcome everyone. My name is Rens van Haren and I work at Mimaki as an application specialist. Today we're going to cover one of my favorite topics, UV printing in combination with laser cutting. With the technology of Mimaki UV LED printers in combination with the super accurate laser cutters, you can make the most diverse products in an instant. These combination of machines are widely used for promotional items like trophies, keychains, signage, but also for industrial products like the automotive industry and also for the industrial plates, signing and control panels. I can already hear you thinking, doesn't the ink break after cutting? No. With our all-round ink, LOS 120, the semi-flexible ink, it's possible to post-processing after printing using cutting, creasing, but also with the laser cutter without the ink break because of the flexibility of this ink. Now it's time to look how this unique process between UV printing and laser cutting come together with this movie. Enjoy watching. In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to create acrylic keychains in 3 simple steps. The first step will be done in Illustrator for the artwork. The second step we're going to print through our RIP software, and the third and last step will be done in Job Control, and that's a software to cut the acrylics with the Trotec laser. First we need to create an artboard. So the artwork is ready, and now going to the RIP software rasterlink. We're now ready for the second step, preparing the artwork into our RIP software, rasterlink, and if it's done, we are ready to print it on the UGF 7151. First, we're going to open the files. Go to the execution button and choose RIP and print, and we're ready to go. Okay, we're ready for the final step to cut our acrylic sheet. We placed our acrylic sheet inside of the Trotec laser cutter. We adjusted the height to the correct height and set our laser right on top of the first marker. We're ready for step 3, and we're gonna import the artwork again inside of Illustrator. Settings are already done, so we're good to go. Now you know how accurate and easy it is to create these beautiful objects. I want to thank you all for viewing this tutorial. Did you miss something? No problem. Just go to mimakieurope.com. Thank you. Bye bye.
So guys, that was an interesting video. We probably go for much more details in our discussion. So before we going into our live session, our roundtable, I'm quite interested. We've got a big audience today for this webinar, and I'm just wondering, let's kick off with an opinion poll. How are you guys using already laser cutting in your business? So answer your question so we have a little bit of an idea on how familiar the audience is with this topic. So I'm quite curious, what do you think about it, Rens? Will it be the audience, like, are they quite familiar already or have any experience with laser cutting? I'm just wondering.
Yeah,
I think
I'm also really curious because especially with the mixture, if you're using both machines, I don't know how many companies it will do. Mostly it's separate, only laser cutting or only digital printing. So yeah, I'm not sure what will the outcome will be.
let's have a look how that goes. So here we can see, yes, we have a quite audience which is already quite familiar with laser cutting. So guys, that will be interesting for you for the round table. There are people who have already experience, so take that in your mind when starting answering your questions. And I think also we have a quite nice audience who need more information about this topic. So yeah, let's not wait any longer and start with the first question. And I am going to start with the first question. When we talk about digital printing and laser cutting, what kind of applications are the most popular or the most common? Michael, the floor is yours.
Yeah,
Please explain. What is your opinion?
As we've seen in the video, these promotional items, either small or big, are the more traditional application of these combined workflows. Especially cutting acrylics with a laser gives excellent results and you can do outstanding things, but it's much more versatile. You can work on different materials as well. And there's a new field coming up with more industrial applications where machines, automotive applications get more colorful, more design, get friendlier to their audience. And so nice design elements on the machine, either for design purposes or for operational purposes, are more and more digitally printed and cut afterwards. So this is a new field opening up with many different applications.
And what do you see in your region, Andres?
Well, in my region, from my experience, is most not so many this type of acrylic signs we saw earlier. I would like that, but at the moment, all I've seen are either name signs that are printed with UV and then cut out, or also some type of control panel. That's the common use so far.
Rens, what do you see here in Mimaki Europe? Also a lot of personalization, or how? What? Could you please give a little bit of a comment on that?
Yeah, sure. For an application specialist, and we get sample and demo requests from all over the world, we see a lot of different materials coming by, and we have mostly using for promotional items, or also for the industrial products like gouges and display panels with very thin polycarbonate printed and then laser cut it. For me, as an application specialist, it's very handy. We can create our own jigs with using the laser. So if I need to print, for example, phone covers, I can cut really easy within a few minutes my own jig, place them inside of the machine, and it's perfectly aligned. So and textile. So textile cutting with laser after printing. Yeah, it's also really handy. So a lot of things going on for laser cutting now.
Okay. And where do we need to pay attention to when we are starting digital printing and laser cutting, Andres? What are the most important things that we need to pay attention on?
Well, I would say it's preparation of the material to get good adhesion of the ink. In all honesty, I have not a very big experience here, so I guess Michael is more used to this. But yeah, I've seen results where things doesn't work well. So you need to prepare the material, I would say.
So preparation of the material is quite important, Michael. Can you give us a little bit of an understanding how that works?
Yeah, it's both preparation and type as well. So the combination of what's the substrate, what's the ink, and what's the laser process gets you to good results. And you should test this out before you do something. So the a professional pre-sales work is really required to make sure that this works. But then you can get really stunning results.
Okay. You are so excited that I cannot see you anymore, Michael. But
yeah.
Hopefully you come back soon. So Rens,
of course.
What about you? What do you think? What is extra needs to pay extra attention on this particular part?
Yeah, for laser cutting and especially in combination with ink, you need to know if you're cutting through the ink or not. So the type of ink that you choose is important. There are hard substrate inks, but also they're flexible inks. I think we will come back a little bit later. But if you're going to some inks, you can cut through and the ink will break, will go off. We'll see a picture later on. So that's really important. Also what Andres is saying, the preparation, cleaning the substrate, and therefore also important to have the proper substrates for printing and cutting, and mostly on adhesion also. So those things you need to be aware. And obviously the size of your printer and laser cutter needs to be adjusted.
So more to come on that part, I assume, Rens. So I think if we are going a little bit, if you can see here, you're saying we've got an example here about the colorings. Looks beautiful. Can you explain a little bit what we see here, Rens?
Yeah, the colors are beautiful, but the output on the left side is not that beautiful. So here you can see a really good example when you're choosing ink and you start to cut through the ink. So this is on the 3mm acrylic printed on color and white. And on the left side, you have the hard ink, and on the right side, the flexible ink, our LOS 120. So if you cut through, yes, of course, Andres.
Sorry, yeah. This was what I was mentioning earlier. This is one of the few examples I have done myself. We got samples from a customer from another brand to check how it cut. And after doing the laser cut, I compared to the Mimaki, and it was flaking off just as in the picture. You could rub your nail on the edge and it will start popping off the color. And when I did this to Mimaki, it felt a lot, not sticky, but almost sticky, a lot softer, and it wasn't flying off like that.
Yeah, you're completely correct. It's because of the molecular structure of the hard ink is really together, and the flexible ink is more out of each other. It's a structure, and that's why it's also a little bit sticky. But if you cut through the ink, it will still has its bounding on its material, so it won't flake off. And with hard ink, it will just go off directly. Ah, nice. Michael is back, I see.
So Michael, do
Yeah.
you have that experience as well? Because I think those guys are talking about different inks, etc. What are you seeing from Trotec point of view?
I see similar things, especially also the type of substrate makes a big difference. So you cannot just use any acrylic and everything will be good. For the extruded acrylic, results are usually fine. For cast acrylic, the results vary. So even if you have the right ink, the cast acrylic has a very smooth surface and your ink will not stick as well. Unless you need some primer, or so you use some primer, and then you get excellent results as well.
Okay, that's interesting. So I see a couple of other application examples here, Rens, and I see a lot of in front of you as well. It looks as if I'm in a football stadium here, but please explain a little bit what we are seeing here.
Yeah, I will go briefly with this because I can talk for hours and hours and hours. So yeah, there's so many materials what you can do. So you have in front of me the mixed, so with the wood and the acrylic. So the small B is done with acrylic. So the combination of both it's really nice to have some more luxury effect. Multiple layers of acrylic. So you see at the football tournament sample, but also artificial leather and keychains. So I showed you in a movie before. It's easy to make, and then we go to the automotive industry, so more for the gouges, and also the adhesive is already at the back, so you can cut it directly. So it's yeah, time consuming or not time consuming evenly. Wood, it's really nice. Yeah, and that's a good example also for cutting on packaging. Even with if you set the power really low, you can do the creasing and the cutting afterwards, and it's 10 times faster and more accurate than using just a swivel knife, for example. So that's yeah, the samples.
Nice. Trotec, you also, I see beautiful phone covers. Yeah, I told you already I want one as well. But besides that, could you explain a little bit what we see here and how that exactly works?
Yeah, this phone case stand is a typical example of the versatility of laser cutting. As Rens has mentioned, printing on the phone cover is not easy when you have not aligned the phone cover to your print. So the first part is to have the jig to place your phones properly, or your items that you print on, which can be easily cut with a laser cutter. And the display itself, where the products are shown, has a beautiful print and interesting contour that stands out of the usual square thinking, with color effects and shape effects. And inside, where the cases are stored, there's foam, and also these foam parts you can easily and quickly cut with a laser. So it's quite versatile. You can use many different materials and designs with a laser cutter. And signage is a big field where cutting standard signs is the laser cutter is just much more efficient and reliable than other processes. So if you look into some web shops that have like hundreds of square meters per day, they use laser cutters because of the reliability and the throughput for laser cutting.
Okay. And you, Andres, are you also drinking smoothies and making nice signage in your region? Is this something that is working as well, or?
Yeah, sadly not. I haven't seen this. Why, I'm not so sure. I think most of it is imported. I would like and love to see our customer use this combination because it's really nice, and it's not difficult to work with. The lasers have a camera and they will read the reference marks and then cut after that. So it's not a huge job. So I want people to start doing this.
Okay. I see here are lots of other nice sample acrylic, nice samples. So Michael, this is something that you probably see a lot in the market as well, right? Because
Definitely.
this.
Yeah. So also an important point is precision, both on the print side, so that your print does not get cut off or you get some offsets in positioning, as well as for parts that have to fit together. Laser cutting is really a precise technology, and you can build these pieces in high quantities very reliably, and you get a smooth process in your production. On the second print and cut display, we play with materials. Some of them are printed, some are not printed, and you can get really stunning effects by combining different types of materials to also in 3D shapes coming out of the flat, and then getting really stunning results out of that.
Okay. So Rens, I see you experimenting also a lot in the showroom with this new print and cut display kind of and 3D combinations. Do you have anything to add on this one?
No, not really. But indeed, as what Michael said, the last point, if you combine different materials, I really like to combining wood with plexiglass. So a little bit of nature product in combination with the shiny plexiglass like this bee. I really love to combine them. So it's a bit more luxury.
Nice.
Yeah, and it makes you stand out of the usual everyday 2D sign of a single material. You get just much more stunning and professional results.
What about finishing, Michael, on digital key visuals? How does that work?
Yeah.
I see a couple of examples here.
Yeah, this is where we cut, for example, cutboard, which is a very eco-friendly material, very hard to cut with knife cutters. And you see the dense nesting of these parts. The print results get great on this material. Cutting with a knife is always a bit of a headache, and the laser cuts through precisely and reliably, and you can nest very dense and get very good results out of that. The second picture shows textile, another big field of laser cutting in the future. So the combination of digital print and laser cutting on textile will be the future of very individual textile solutions, starting with soft signage, but entering other textile fields as well. There's lots coming really up there.
Yeah, I know, because we made the TS55 sample kit with a lot of, I think, thousands of small A5 size samples, and you helped us out with cutting them with the laser cutter, and it went, I think, a couple of days. You were finished.
Yeah.
So it was a perfect solution, and also the textile will not go tearing off. It stays because it's burning a little bit, so it's really good.
It's melting a bit and then sealing off the edge, so you don't get any fraying, and this makes handling the textile much simpler.
Yeah, true.
So Andres, what are the key advantages of using Mimaki technology for digital print and laser cutting? You had already an experience with a competitor, but what are the advantages of Mimaki technology?
Yeah, as I briefly mentioned, I don't have much experience here yet, but the only thing I've seen is so far is the ink. The ink of Mimaki seems to be sitting on the material a lot better and not flaking off. That's all I can say.
Michael, what are the key advantages?
I see 2 points that are very well for Mimaki. On the one hand, the precision of the printers. So when we look for alignment between wedge marks, shapes, and cut contours, working with a Mimaki printer works really nice. And we see lots of versatility in the printer types for different substrates, from small machines, large format machines, as well as textile machines. So you get the whole spectrum of machine types from one source there.
That's nice. Now, Rens, I'm not going to ask you about the Mimaki technology. That will be really a little bit too much, I think. So let's move on quickly to the next question. So what are the benefits of laser cutting? So I will start with you, Rens. What are the key benefits of using laser?
The accuracy, and also when you're cutting through, for example, acrylic, the space that is left in cutting, so I compare a little bit with CNC routers, it's less. So if you're cutting a star, it will be a star eventually, and with CNC cutters you have a space around it that also been cut. So especially for making jigs, it's difficult, and for laser cutting it's super accurate, and I think the opening is only 0.2 millimeter or even less. It's really fast. That's also for paper cutting and textile cutting. It's some seconds and you're done. And also the accuracy between both machines, as well as the Mimaki and the laser of Trotec. If you align them together, you don't even need any detection marks. It will be perfect. So you don't need to print with bleed. It just cuts within the marks. So that's why.
So accuracy, Michael, I can hear that from Rens. What are any other benefits? Can you dive a little bit in that for me?
Yeah, I would add two main benefits. One is throughput. So if you look at cutting speed and overall processing time, when you cut acrylics or many other substrates compared to either a knife cutter or a router, you're just much quicker. We had customers who were just surprised to see what kind of boost they got through laser cutting. So they could lower their prices to end customers and start getting much more volume in orders because of their new productivity and new price point. And the second one is the reliability of the overall process. If you work with a router on, for example, acrylic, you get lots of waste products. The process is not precise. You get lots of dust, debris, and you have to clean this. And this is really hard to do in a series manner. So you lose lots of parts and you have to reproduce them. And using a laser just changes the game significantly. We had rates of waste products from 20% using a router to less than 1% using a laser cutter. So it's not just a little effect, it's a huge effect.
So this whole waste, is that you see that also in your region, Andres, the importance of that, I assume? It's an important benefit, right?
Yeah, I would add the cutting edge of the acrylics. If you compare that to CNC, you need to do it twice, and the final one is polishing with a CNC. With a laser, you just do it once and you get crystal clear cutting edges. So that's, I would add that as well.
It's a really good one, Andres. That's an important one also.
It's a huge save in time.
Yeah, true.
What is the effect of laser cutting on cure ink? Let's start with you, Michael, on that one.
Yeah, as discussed, we have many people with concerns that this laser beam will destroy ink, but it just doesn't. If you have the right combination of substrate, ink, and laser, you cut through your printed designs without any problems. No bubbles, no brown edges, or any other effects that you might expect, but it just works. If you have the correct setup, the correct machines, both for the printer and the laser, you get reliable results. That's some people just don't believe what they see, but we
So
cannot
do you
fake it.
believe what you see, Rens? Do you believe what you see? Is that working for you? Do you have the same experience as Michael?
No, I think in front of me there's a good example, but also Michael, you had a really good example, I guess, of more than 20 millimeter of acrylic, if I'm correct. So if we show this live, I'm sure no doubts anymore for anyone.
Yeah, this is a sample that we did for cutting thick acrylics, and it just works out perfectly.
That's the point that Andres also saying. You see the clear and the visibility of the acrylic.
And also the shape. You are not limited to some shape restrictions. If you look at this corner, for example, here at the bottom, you just see no effect of the finishing on your contour and restrictions on your design. If I look at your football sign, this has lots of fine details as well, and you can easily do this.
Yeah, really good.
And that's
also
what you
looking
see
at
back,
other
right?
substrates. At other substrates, for example, we have polypropylene honeycomb board, low-cost signage boards, and these are digitally printed, and also the edges, if you look at the corners, you don't see any color change or any adverse effects on the print. This was all fully printed, and it comes out really beautifully on all kinds of different materials. Michael, this is, for example, Cat's board.
Can I ask you? I see the reference marks on the top side where the ink is. Yes. Is there a good or bad way of cutting with a laser? Should you have the ink underneath, or should it be on top where the laser comes? On acrylic, of course, you have the possibility on both sides. Here it's maybe difficult to do it.
Yeah, but if your substrate is not transparent, you basically have not a lot of choices. But for acrylic, you get really nice results if you print on the backside. So in this case, we printed from the backside. It makes a very nice look because it's shiny. Also, the print comes out very nice on the backside in a reverse way. And to produce, I have the raw material here. You can leave your protective cover on the front side even until you hand it over to your customer. So it's protected for shipping, for installation, and you get really a very nice surface until the end. And for production, you add your artwork in the back and your edge marks as well on the back side of your substrate. And what is also a good point is to have this white background. It makes the colors come out much better. Maybe Rens can comment on this.
Yeah, Rens, how easy is that to prepare those files? Is that difficult?
No, not really. Even though we have for the job control, we have a special function in our rastering tools, so you can easily export your cut files for the Trotec. So it's already implemented in our software. But if you're having the cut lines and you work by color mostly, so for example 255 RGB red, it will recognize the cutting line automatically, and you can apply different colors for different settings for cutting, and the marks will be detected magnetic. So it's also shown in the extended movie we'll put online shortly, and it's a couple of minutes. It's really easy. So a little bit of skills for software like Illustrator or CorelDRAW, and you're done.
Okay, interesting.
Also, as you have mentioned that there are different processes available. If you're working with films, for example, like in this case, you can use kiss cut with a laser, and this gives also very reliable results. So you cut through your top layer, and your substrate, your carrying substrate, is unaffected by the process. So on the backside, you don't see any marks. And this gives really a reliable and easy to apply result. you get it for free with the laser. The laser power
Nice.
is really nicely you can control the laser power really precisely and nicely, and then you can do these things as well. And this is not working once, this is working reliably over hundreds and thousands of parts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's because the knife will wear out after a while, but the laser won't. So that's a huge benefit.
So you're using that as well, Andres?
Yeah, we use it. Some customers do that to keep the wax paper still on the backside.
Okay. So what will be your ideal setup configuration, Andres?
Oh, me again.
Yeah, you are in front of me, so I can see you. But if you don't want to start, I can also ask Michael. It's up to you. Like
we're trying. Yeah, we're trying to what's it called, the MK6042. Combine that with a machine of the same size, I would guess. But please leave it to Michael. I think he has more experience there.
That's fine. Michael, what is your ideal setup? What do you think about it?
Yeah, as described, you need to make sure that you know what kind of work pieces you work and in which quantities. And then you can have different setups, either if it's a large format machine for high volume production, or if it's a combination for smaller runs and smaller work pieces. You need to make sure that you have the right materials in place. You test them before, test the printing, as well as test the laser cutting, set things up properly. Also on the software side, as Rens has explained, you need to follow some processes, but that's rather straightforward. Also some flexibility there. Also, both machines are able to be integrated in some automated workflows, into some RIP-based workflows to get really efficient production, as well as small runs with single quantities. That's all possible. And for the concrete setup, for acrylic, we really propose this backside printing. The number of wedge marks depends a bit on your substrate. If you have like rigid substrate as acrylics, you don't need a lot of them. If you work with textile or some more flexible materials, you need more of them. This is also subject to testing and qualification. And if you have found your setup, then you are just ready to go.
What's your favorite setup, Rens?
Now, I've got a question for Michael, because are you making your sizes, the machine sizes, based on our machines, or is Mimaki making their machine based on your side? Because the machines are all having the exact same size for working, for the 3042, 6042, JFX 200. So who's doing what first?
There seems to be some coordinating force here.
Good one. Good answer.
To explain, I think both your product managers and our product managers have the substrate market, and there are some standard formats that we both support, and it's the natural choice to orient on what kind of formats your substrates are having.
Yeah, true. Really good.
So there's not a lot of magic involved.
You only have a small working pieces. What will be the ideal combination of machines, Rens? Let me start with you.
If you're a small working area, yeah, for us, we have a small, if you're talking about UV machines, a small UV, the UGF 3042 and the 6042. So those machines are A3 and A2 size. It's more like desktop-based machine. And combination, what I told before, the sizes of especially the Trotec machines are also in this area. So almost in a workspace of 2 square meters. It's enough to set both machines. For small spaces, I would do this, and we can go larger and larger and larger until 2.50 meters at 3.10 meters. So that's for the more big houses to work with.
What is your ideal combination setup, Andres?
Well, we don't sell Trotec, we sell Epilog lasers, and we have only 2 machines, Fusion Pro, the smaller one 800 x 500 and a larger one. So it would be a Mimaki machine that can use that space in order
so
to
Michael,
use the cameras.
Convince Andres with Trotec machines. I see an opportunity here. What's your ideal combination?
Yeah, of course, we have very nice machines in this small range, and we see many customers who combine a Mimaki small format printer with our Speedy, either the Speedy 360, Speedy 400 or Speedy 300, which are exactly a fit in this format. And this is something that I recognize as unique for Mimaki, to have these small printers with very high quality, high flexibility, with all the features of wide format printing on a small scale, for some restricted workspace availability. You can do a lot with a combination of these small machines. Also, regarding the budget, large machines are often significantly more expensive, but starting a business, starting into print and cut, you have a good way of producing high quality products with a combination of small printer, small laser cutter.
Okay. So I'm actually wondering, like, we are talking now for 45 minutes, like how the audience is doing at the moment, or thinking about, are they planning to invest in a new printer in combination with a laser cutting machine? I'm just wondering, like, how is the audience feeling on that at the moment? Even in these difficult circumstances where we are sitting, Rens, I'm just seeing a lot of investments at the moment from different companies, even in this difficult time. But I'm just, let's see what's happening at the moment in the field, right?
Yeah, I'm curious because for us, especially as application specialists for the demo rooms, we see a lot of demos and sample requests coming in, especially since the last month or two. It's every day we have some fun. So I'm curious what the poll will be.
Okay. Yeah, it's busy, I see. Okay, so here we see 49%, they're not investing at the moment in 2020. 30% is looking into it for 6 to 12 months. It's also a good amount within 3 months, 13%, and 11% for 3 to 6 months. So yeah, I think what you are reflecting in the showroom is also visible here in the poll, right?
That's true.
That's giving a clear answer. Michael, any thoughts on this from you? What do you see in the market at the moment?
Yeah, we see still lots of investing. We expected a big downturn due to COVID, but it just did not happen at all. We saw continuous interest in laser finishing throughout all of 2020 and going on right now. Yeah.
Okay.
The power of digital finishing is here to stay.
What about you, Andres? What do you see in your markets at the moment?
Yeah, 2020 was the best year so far when it comes to hardware lasers. We beat our old record, so I'm happy.
Wow.
We haven't seen a drop at all, at least on lasers. So 2021 will be interesting. We will see how things go.
Yeah, definitely. So I think we are moving into the Q&A session. I saw already a lot of questions during our session coming in. There's a big audience there. So let's see where we start with. What's the rule of, what is the rule actually? Print, then cut, or cut and then print? Michael, I think that's as you as a product specialist, you can probably give an answer on that.
Yeah, the best way is just to print first, get the edge marks at the right position, and then cut out. You will achieve accuracies around 0.2, 0.1 millimeters when it comes to overlap between the print and the cut contour, which is really hard if you work the other way around. So it's just the best process. First printing, get the edge marks right, and then laser cut along the print.
Agree, Rens, on this?
True. Also, another common thing is you cutting on a very thin material and with a lot of details, small details. And afterwards, you will start printing and using a vacuum table. The small details won't hold on the vacuum. So it's better to first print on a sheet and cut afterwards. It's much faster, and also yeah, you don't have any problems, little parts coming up, etc. So I agree with Michael.
Okay. See another question. Is there any plans to automate the process where the printer and laser are integrated and the material placement is automated? Interesting question. Michael, can you maybe answer that question?
Yes, I think this is a trend for the next few years to look into reasonable ways to automation. That's as the products are usually that different. We don't have any series production as the car industry or any series. Every part is different, and basically that's the power of digital printing and digital finishing. Automation is quite complex to take care of this, but there are ways to make these things simpler, and that's driving us here. So both on the data workflow, which can be simplified, as well as the material workflow.
So that's something that we will need to see how the future will develop, correct? Anders, anything to add from your side on this question?
No, I don't have that insight on epilogue lasers. Sorry.
No worries. Michael, can you update us? We talked briefly about textile cutting lasers. Any news from your side? Is there an update from on the lasing cutter machine from Trotec?
Yes, we are right now preparing the SP4000, our first dedicated textile cutting machine,
Nice.
targeted on soft signage. That's why it's 3.2 meters wide. So it will be a huge machine dedicated for soft signage markets. But we see also other industries that are using more conventional workflows and production methods going into digital printing and digital finishing, such as home textile, as well as garment coming up, which will be huge markets for both digital printing and digital cutting in the future.
That will be interesting for us as well, right, Rens? Interesting technology coming up.
Yeah, normally if we're preparing some samples, we're cutting with scissors. So when we start with a huge amount of inspiration kits for our textile printers, yeah, luckily we have you, Michael, and it's done with a couple of days with the laser cutter. So thank you for that.
No, what we really saw is that this is going to be a very reliable process, and also we did not produce waste during our cut, and we produced like 60,000 of these samples within a few days.
Yeah, indeed.
What sectors, types of business are driving demand for laser applications? Andres, what do you see in your region?
Sorry, again, what was the question?
What sectors or type of business are driving demand for laser applications? Which areas, which business areas, which segments are driving this in your region?
Well, for me, it's signage from name signs. In Sweden, at least my customers are mostly making name signs or how do you call it? Serial number signs, stuff like that. And some few have started to combine this with UV printers, at least the name signs. So that's my region. Not so much like Rens has there with this football plackets or how you call them. That's not so common yet. That's the Swedish market at least.
I think a question came in, what kind of technical know-how do you need to know, Rens? Does Mimaki partners provide the support to the customers? What kind of laser cutting applications do we need to have in our business, basically? That sounds like a good question for you.
Yeah, it's also quite easy to answer because Mimaki, we are specialized in digital printing. That's our goal business and we are good at it and that's what we want to do. And for example, Trotec is really good in the laser business. They have all the know-how for the laser business. So still it will be separate. But now, because of the cooperation, and especially for me as an application specialist, we have a machine in our demo room to work with, so we can help our customers, especially when they're coming for a product and it's not ready yet. We can say, okay, but you can also do it with the laser cutting. We show a small demonstration how it goes and how easy and accurate it is, and so on. Afterwards, if they want to proceed with laser cutting, then it will go to, for example, to Trotec. So it's separate, but also together.
Michael, question that came in. We are facing a pandemic. Are there any new applications that are showing up, especially in combination with laser cutting in this at the moment?
Yeah, 2020 was dominated in many of our customers by mass production of some face shields, of some larger shields for registers, or some acrylic separators between people. But I think the main trend is over there. This was a big hump in 2020, but we see already some settling there. This was also inflicted by the availability of acrylic material, where at sometimes there was a fight for acrylic even, which is also quite some limiting factors. You have to get your whole chain running to be successful there. But
yeah, I think that
would
counts
not
for
expect that the pandemic has now significant other effects. Everyone's looking forward to events, to trade shows, going back out to people, and then these beautiful signs that Rens is showing will have an impact again.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see a question about in the fashion industry. Are there any possibilities on laser cutting or printing for this industry, a more futuristic kind of idea view on that? Anything that pops up in your mind, Michael?
Definitely. If you look at the traditional fashion industry, about 1/3 of the garment is thrown away without selling it before, because you cannot predict the trends, you cannot predict your customer base. And if these supply chains can get fully digital much quicker than right now, then we can reduce this huge amount of waste and also create a huge versatility. You can get your personalized garment to your customers, and laser cutting and digital printing will play a significant role to be able to do this.
I have a question on, I'm cutting usually MDF. Is there a good finish when we are cutting the printed area? Rens, is that something that you can answer?
Oh, with MDF, it's especially for cutting. I don't know, for printing. You have different types of MDF. They have a more open structure, but also really close structure. I think Michael is already showing.
Yeah.
So if it's a little bit close structure, you need to cover up with a little bit more white and then the color to cover it up. And if it's more closed, yeah, only a little bit of white or only color is enough. So, but yeah, look at Michael, you see a live sample how it's go, and I'm sure it will be okay.
Michael, anything to add on this beautiful sample again?
Yeah, as you see, you don't see brown edges at the print side, and this comes out really nicely. You see some brownish edge, but for many applications, this is just fine. And you can create the perfect backside as well.
Was there no cleaning involved?
No, this comes out like this from the machine.
All right.
So question answered, I guess.
That's a good example, guys. I think we have still a lot of questions. What we will do, we will answer them all together with the specialist and send them over in the review, in any thank you email. We will individually answer those ones. So I think we had a very interesting day today, very dynamical discussion. Especially for me, it is interesting to know that there's some interesting parts coming up in the textile environment and new machines coming up from Trotec. Looking forward to that as for sure. But what about you, Rens? What were your key takeaways for today?
Especially meeting this wonderful people, Andres and Michael, to talk about this, and also for me, especially when making the movie that's in the beginning, it's really good to show the advantage and also how easy it is to create beautiful samples within a flick of your fingers. It's done. So and already also discussed and showed by the samples of Michael, it is easy. So I love it.
Good. Andres, what are your key takeaways for today? You learned a lot, right?
Yeah, I'm more on the learning stage, so it's good. I'm just absorbing. So I'm thanking Michael.
That's good, right? Michael, what are your key takeaways for today?
For
you need
me,
to talk
I
to
see
Andres,
that
right?
yeah, do some convincing work on Andres.
Right.
I see lots of potential future applications that we just are not aware of today for both technologies, and there's lots of potential ahead of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I think we are almost there to finalize this session. As being said already, we have some additional information that we will send out in our thank you email. If there is anything that you need to know or you have some questions or requests, please don't be shy and send us an email by webinar@emea.mimaki.com or let us know. We have a survey right after this session. And of course, we have more advanced webinars coming up. We will keep you updated via the website and social media. For today, I would love to thank you, my two guest speakers, Michael and Andres. It was really nice to have this set up together, and it was really a nice conversation today. And of course, my colleague Rens, thanks for joining and being here and be my guided experience application specialist. And for everybody at home, stay safe, stay healthy, talk to you soon. And I wish you a very, very nice day and looking forward to next time. Talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.